has come from in terms of when you guys first got here now?
Yeah, I mean, he's been great. I mean, the thing about starting a new system is there's so much to take in. He's played a lot of football, but regardless, whenever there's a new system, there's a lot of downloading of information, footwork, timing, just route concepts, the way we call certain things, protection adjustments. We were just talking today through a couple of things, and it just takes time for anybody. And then once you get through that process, now you go out into the grass and you apply all the concepts and those things and get a feel for the players running those specific routes and how they're going to look in terms of the offense. And so he's done a great job in terms of taking all the information in, presenting it. He's got great command with the offense in terms of the huddle, the break, on the line of scrimmage, the adjustments that need to be made. So he's doing unbelievable, and he's great to work with every day. Get a chance to.
Spencer, you mentioned new systems and new ways of doing things, and do you ever get, well, I like it this way, or I like it that way, or do you want him to tell you, I'd be more comfortable this or that? I mean, do you guys work together well in that regard?
Absolutely. I think the starting point is you always want to establish the system and put things in place for guys, and here's how we're going to adhere. Here's the footwork, here's the timing, here's how we see this concept, here's how we do it. And then as you get to it, like I said, he's played a lot of football and he's been in some systems and seen some things. So, as you put in that first system, that base system, then you can kind of play with it a little bit and see what he thinks. How does he feel about this particular, footwork or read in certain cases? So, for the most part right now, it's just about the implementation of the entire system, functioning in it, and then there's always that two-way street of, especially myself and him, talking, hey, how do you see this? You see it this way? He says, oh yeah, and he said, okay, that's a good point, maybe I'll see it in this perspective. And so I think that's the other great part about all the coaching staff that we have here. Have been in so many different places, and they've all kind of brought some things to it, and then collectively, Liam and Grant's system, able to implement that with the rest of the staff.
What gets you excited about Trevor? The arm strength, the size, mobility. What about that package makes you excited to, after this thing gets to put in a game plan or plays that will take the most advantage of that?
Well, I'd say all those things that you listed those are the kinds of things you see right away, but also the thing I've been really impressed with is anticipation on seeing some of the things, making throws, and guys are running into the football from 5-6 yards away and over the top of linebackers. His anticipation has been really impressive to watch this camp. And then with the timing aspect in terms of new footwork, new concepts, things happening fast, him applying that new footwork to those things that are going on has been impressive to watch too. So all the things you see as you walk out to the field, the size, the mobility, the arm strength, and then his ability to lead the operation in terms of the huddle, owning the pre-snap, and then getting a chance to use some of that anticipation has been really fun to watch.
You said today, each drop back is supposed to look like a dance. It's pretty much a dance. So what are we talking, like foxtrot? Well, I mean, kind of break that down a little bit for me here.
There's definitely a rhythm to it, and that's kind of how the system was built on, the fundamentals of the footwork, and in terms of the drop, and not all the drops are created equal. Two of the same drops may be both 3 and a hitch or 5-step, but the timing in which they are implemented or they're down in the field can be different based on what you see pre-snap and a lot of times what happens post-snap too. So there's a rhythm to it that you try to adhere to, and that's kind of what I touched on about implementing that first system where here's the footwork, here's what we're going to do. We want to get closest to that as we can in order for the execution to happen, and knowing that the game is so competitive, there's a defense out there, it's not just on air, that things may be a little bit quicker, a little bit slower based on the reaction of the opposing 11 guys on the field. But as long as we can stick as close as possible to the script in terms of the footwork, it feels like it gives us our best chance.
So is the footwork markedly different in this system than it is in other systems?
No, perhaps. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. Okay. Other systems obviously have their footworks that they do. It's just a matter of how you may pair one footwork with a certain concept or the depth that you may they run a certain route may affect the drop in itself in terms of the timing. So there's a lot of different variables that can affect it in terms of the rhythm and the steps to it. So every system has their own set of footworks, and that's really been the big part this spring is giving this system and getting these footworks down for all the quarterbacks in the league.
You've known Liam for a long time, obviously. What is it about him that makes him an effective leader and somebody who you want to be on the staff with?
Yeah, he brings great energy. I'd say the first thing is he's a football guy at heart. I mean, that's kind of how we know each other from the times growing up when we were both in high school and then played together in college. And he's just always been so immersed in the game and the X's and O's, the football, the adjustments, the playing the quarterback position. And then he has such a charismatic, way about himself that he's able to connect with all the guys on the team. The way he has command and lead of the room, in front of the team meetings, and really lays out the plan and the idea of what we want to get done very concisely for the guys and what the standards are to hold them accountable to. So, combination of all that starts with the football, but then him and himself, being himself and his personality, showing that to the players. I think they love that. They connect with him. And it's been fun to watch over the years, from knowing him from the time we were together, working together, playing together, and now seeing him in this role as a head coach has been fun to watch.
And I know that he's on the other side of the ball, but you guys were both with Arizona for the last couple of years. Dennis Gardeck, what really does he bring, to the team, just as a person, personality, locker room, etc.?
Yeah, he's a great person. Does all the right things on and off the field. He was one of the early guys I kind of got to know because I can't remember his first rookie year, but he was a special teams phenom for us in Arizona when I first started with the Cardinals, and that was back in 19. And I just remember watching a guy that was so consistent in his work and his preparation each day and knowing exactly what we wanted to get done on special teams. He was such a leader for those young guys to watch and to follow. He was always out in the front, and the coach would always point him out. Here's how we want to get this drill done, Dennis. This is it. This is the guy you need to watch. And he was that guy back in 2019, my first year there, and now we are here. And he's carved out a great role for himself in terms of a pass rusher and playing defense as well, on top of all the things he still brings in special teams. So he has such a presence on the field as well that the guys, they love being around playing the game because he plays it with his hair on fire. And he brings a lot of really good positive juice, energy for the team. So I'm excited that he's here.
Thanks, Spencer.